Dan, you've done
Yes.
some upgrading.
I did, and it wasn't without some effort, even.
It only broke like twice.
Yeah, I didn't. It
Ish?
didn't actually break, which was
Okay.
great. That was really good. It didn't do
Oh.
anything though, so maybe it was good that it didn't break.
Well, better
So-
than exploding.
Better than exploding. I did tell you to cross your fingers at one point. I'm pretty sure.
I crossed all the fingers and the
everything.
toes.
Yeah. And so I did my homework. I knew there was some changes coming to Lemmy, and I was a little concerned because it was a big jump. Like, I had kind of sort of procrastinated a little bit, just going to say.
Mhm.
And some of that was because of the Ansible version here that I've been running. They hadn't tagged anything for the 0.18.4 release. So I was really worried about that. I remember telling you, like, I don't know. I think we're going to hang out here for a little bit. And because like I saw they had released the new version of Lemmy, but they didn't release the new version of the Ansible playbook stuff. And I just was like, we're going to hold. Anyway, so fast forward.
That's smart, though. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, so they came out with another new version of Lemmy. So this was 0.18.5. And with that, though, they started making some tags in the Ansible playbook stuff. And so going forward, I can watch that and watch for the tags, and they're going to do that every time there's a release now. We've done some level setting, if you will, and so it'll be easier going forward. So I'm excited about that. However, they said that in doing this, there's a few things that you're going to have to change, and there's some breaking changes. And if you don't pay attention, this won't work.
Is this where the vars.yaml comes into play?
Yeah, so they separated out some of the variables into this vars YAML thing, and they also changed the way the Postgres password, for the database works as well. Mm-hmm. And so you had to move some things around and edit your new variable file if you needed to. And all that's great. I did all those things. However, whatever changed, I don't know. The new playbook was actually looking to essentially re-add Docker, but I think it changed repos potentially. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, it didn't remove the old key to the old apt repo. And so it was like a chicken and an egg thing. Like, it couldn't get past itself to install the new ones because it was still broken on, that key doesn't match. And so apt was broken at that point.
And so how do you get the new key when the old key doesn't match? Because the old key doesn't match. So how do you get the new key? But how does the new key come if
I just wiped them out. Like, I wiped out the key, I wiped out the repo, and
you threw the chicken and the egg out, and that's okay. We have an answer to the problem, everybody, if you're listening.
Yeah, I went to the store and got a new chicken.
See, that's the answer. There's no chicken, there's no egg. You throw them both out, you get a new chicken. That's the answer to the question.
Exactly. You start making more eggs. So I did that, and that worked, right? So I got rid of the repo, got rid of the key, and then the Ansible playbook would continue with that. However, there was another thing that was kind of weird. I think the Ansible playbook assumed I was running as root on my Ansible control machine because it wanted to look at some files. It wanted to make sure that I had the new variables file. But in doing so, it wanted to do it as root, which was a little weird. Because I owned the stuff. I didn't need to do it as root, right?
Right.
Anyway, once I got over that and actually was able to do the thing, it took off and it said, "Oh, yeah, you got those. That's cool. We'll put those in the right place." Well, okay, you don't have any Docker repo right now, so we'll add that and add the key. that was good. And then it finished the rest of the playbook and updated everything and restarted.
Oh, now
and,
the key works. That's okay.
So then everything worked. But it took me a couple of goes at it and add some, tack VVV on the end of it so that I could see where is this getting hung up and why is it getting hung up, right?
Yeah, apparently I need to be doing this in Gen 2 because something broke for me, and I need some verbosity in my in my emerge commands to know where I left off because whoops. But that's a conversation for another day.
It is. So once I had to do some sysadmin-y stuff. Like that's the type of things you get to do as a sysadmin. And when things don't go right, you have to know how to recover it. You can't just totally rely on every bit of documentation working for everybody in every scenario because you tailor fit your thing to your scenario.
Yep. And that's actually pretty apropos because we're about to go back in time. And a lot of times back in the day, the admin word wasn't something that came until much later. You got called a sysop, a system operator.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So my sysop, thanks for putting all the work into that because Lemmy is working, I feel like, better than ever. I don't know if the increase in speed is because I rebooted my access point or because Lemmy's got a little bit of an edge because we've gone from 18.3 to 18.5. But
it could be. One of the things it does handle pictures or images a little differently. I feel like I'm not seeing as many thumbnails, and I don't know if that's a broken thing. I see some thumbnails though, so it's not totally broken. So it could be just the way it's handling it now, and it's rendering things.
You
a little
need to clear
faster.
your cookies because I'm seeing them all. I'm looking at Lemmy right now. And by the way, for those of you that are just tuning in and don't know what the heck a Lemmy is the open source Reddit, right? So if you're not over here, you should be because it's a really cool place to be. And it feels like Reddit back in the old days. Remember when Dig was doing the whole crash and burn thing and everybody was like, oh, we should make our own one with, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
That's what's happening all over again. And the only ones I don't see thumbnails on right now are self-posts. Well, in Reddit, they're called self-posts. I don't know what they're called in Lemmy. But it's basically just, whenever you go just like ask a question or, make a rant and there's no link to a web page to steal a thumbnail from.
Yeah, I know there are some of that, right? There's definitely some of the pages, like even in Reddit, it does that sometimes too, right? So it doesn't have a thumbnail to render or whatever. That's fine. I'm mostly good with it. I think it's working good. I haven't looked I haven't looked at the net data, analytics on it yet. That was on my list of things to do at some point. So, I just procrastinated way too long, and I did it yesterday on the long weekend. Because I said I'll have some time to do that over the weekend, no problem. And then then Monday came along and I'm like, ooh, I never did that.
Yeah, I said the same thing about CDE history.
So
it got done. Both things got done.
They both got done. Yeah, it was what we worked on yesterday. So that's cool.
Yeah, man. We're a very under the wire kind of group, man. The pressure makes diamonds is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think it's good so far. I mean, yeah, it's working. So that's cool.
Could more pressure make better diamonds? I don't know, but we're not on the track to figure that answer out.
Hey, I figured if all else failed, that's what you got backups for.
That is exactly correct.